And we are here on Train of Thought. Coming up to the show now, she will be on our February 22nd showcase. She's a member of the Washington Roast. You may have seen her as the stage manager and opener for Lady ADHD. God, that's hard to say out loud. If you haven't seen her around DC, open your fucking eyes. It's Bria Beddoe.
Let's add a laugh track. No, applause track. There we go.
Boom, boom, boom. So, Bria, if they haven't seen you, what's the 411? What's up? Who is Bria Beddoe?
That is a question I wake up and I ask myself every day. I feel like I'm cosplaying as like myself every day of my life. Let's see. Bria Beddoe is a comedian. She's a bartender. She's a listener. She's a lover. She's a friend. She has not had a date in like a year. But she is very hopeful on this Valentine's Day that the love of her life might be listening to this podcast.
Well, so far, every one of our listeners has been family members of the guests that have been on it. So we're not gonna manifest that one for you. That would be a bit of a shift that I don't think you want to take on in 2025.
You don't want me to be your grandma?
Listen. The great aunt position is open. Uncle James is sad and alone and needs some help, and I'm not gonna unblock him on Facebook, so somebody has to.
Does he have money?
Well, oh God, no! Are you kidding me?
Oh well, then no.
My 23andMe just says swamp. Like there is no generational inheritance going on here. I promise you that. So you're a comedian in the DC area. I was doing my research, my digging, and it looks like you started doing stand-up around 2018 for the Wednesday Night Comedy Showcase in Silver Spring. Would you consider that your like first performative experience, or is it when you sang Summertime in 2010?
Okay. You went so far deep. Summertime? Did I do it for like a Kennedy Center like jazz thing or something? I don't even remember. It was something. Who knows? It was not Summertime.
Fuck, the picture didn't share. There we go.
Oh my God, yeah, that's me in high school.
That's the punchline there, yeah.
That is so funny. That is me in high school singing Summertime for this like jazz competition. I think it was like Blues Alley jazz competition or something like that. I dressed up in my good Target dress for that.
You were ready to go. You had like the pussy bow and everything on. You were set. I always find it fun where it's just like, oh yeah, we were always in front of our microphone. We just forgot because usually it's singing in a random basement.
That was my school.
Okay.
We got a new building after that. But no, so yeah, like 2018, that was the very first show I ever did.
Yeah.
And it kind of just catapulted me into the world of comedy. I feel like everybody's comedy journeys are very different. Like when I talk to my peers, they're like, yeah, I went to this open mic and I started going to these open mics and I met these people and then blah, blah, blah. Eventually I went on these shows. For me, it was like my friend wanted to do something and I said I was going to do it. So I performed, didn't have any real like material or anything, completely riffed for 5 minutes. It felt like 5 hours. And a guy who was on that show was an actual comedian in the scene and then booked me for a show. And then that was like my second show. And then I ended up meeting this man, Jelani Wills.
Jelani. Yeah, Jelani's a doll.
And Jelani kind of just like saw me and he saw there was something there and asked me to come to the Pinch and do a couple of spots. And I was like, okay. And the rest is history. I was on the ride, baby.
Listen, there are much worse origin stories to have than just saying like, oh yeah, my friend needs help. I'll do this for them. People have usually a lot more trauma to work through before they get up on stage. So like if your reason doesn't have to start with, well, when my mom first told me, it's like, okay, well, but I was going through like the list of shows and what stood out a lot to me over time is how many like women-centric showcases you've done and some of the names that really like tickle me, like Level Up Ladies, Estro Genius, and my personal favorite, which was Pussy Quipped Clit AF, which is just so fucking good branding wise, top tier wise, etc. And I love like a showcase where it's just like, oh, okay, no one's gonna like call me a slur here or say something awful in the green room that I have to think about for the rest of time. What about like those shows really like draw your focus or like are fun for you?
Well, for me, for the first part of doing comedy the first half of the years that I've been doing it. It's weird to say that.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's weird. I guess like yeah, the first few years I was doing comedy because when you're a woman, Jake.
I've
When
heard
you
of
are
them. Yes.
when you're a sexy lady like myself in a wig
Mhm.
like this, the men can't resist you.
No.
And so it was so hard to get on shows and like feel like I was on the show because I'm funny, not
Yeah.
I'm on the show because this guy thinks he can try to sleep with me afterwards or like whatever. Cause like the first couple of years of navigating comedy, there was a lot of men trying to fuck me. And when you go to the women's shows, not that they aren't trying to, but they're way
No.
nicer about
Yeah,
it.
they're
They
much more
actually
polite.
care. Yeah, way more polite. Like great set of boobs, but also you are very, very funny. So it's a comfort thing. It's nice to be able to like be yourself and have somebody just like appreciate your comedy. I remember one time I'd done a show, and this is not name dropping. It's just I think she's really cool, and she like we had never performed together until this day. I did an all women show in Baltimore with Yasmin Ohadi.
Okay, yeah.
Who is like blowing up right now, the
Mm-hmm.
queen of Hulu, the
Mm-hmm.
Muslim matchmaker herself. But one day I did a show with her, and I did my set. And the first thing she said to me was like, "Oh my god, you nasty bitch! You're fucking disgusting." And then she started laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, what an honor! This is what I do it for. This is who I do it for."
Listen, when it's like the accolades of your peers, where it's like, oh shit, this person who is like balls to the wall, so fucking funny, thinks I'm anything at all. Oh, okay, this is why I do this. This is the reason I wake up in the morning and put the wig on and go to the stage. This is what I dream for. It's not the money. It's never been the money.
It's the ladies.
It's the ladies.
It's always the ladies.
Did I ever tell you about the all women showcase I did right before COVID?
Wait, what?
So I got booked for this thing. A friend of mine set me up. She's like, reach out to this booker. He's really cool. The venue has an electric chair. It's going to be great. And I'm like, cool, awesome. I reach out. They sell me on it being like a romance themed date night, Valentine's Day sort of style show. I'm like, okay, sure. I didn't hear anything for like a month. I get the poster back. It is my Facebook profile picture after I just dropped $200 on headshots. And it is saying, Jake Lazier holds the door for the ladies of the DMV. And it's like a lineup of like 10 women and me, and my face is the poster. And you can see all the women like around me in like cropped squares. I'll put a picture on the video after this. It was insane, especially because like half the lineup wasn't comedians. They were actresses who were trying to diversify their portfolio.
Oh my God.
It was in a restaurant in Silver Spring, which is dead now, so I can name drop it, called Crazy Steve's with a K. And the booker was the host, was the cashier.
What?
There were children there. And I'm like, I asked my friend who booked me this, and I was like, if I do this, is this like a microaggression? Like, I feel like I'm doing misogyny by doing this. She's like, no, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. You have to do this.
You're stealing women's jobs.
I'm stealing women's jobs. I'm stealing women's stages from a restaurant in Silver Spring where there are children and no booze. The liquor license was revoked. The liquor license was revoked. The host of that now hosts amateur wrestling and pit bull breeding. So,
oh well, that sounds great. I want to go to that. Please tell me more about this.
I will send you his website after this. I don't want to name drop, but holy shit, it was the most feminist I've ever been. I'm gonna say I held the door for everybody that night. So
you literally held the door.
I literally held the door. You're welcome.
I'm an ally, ladies.
And the worst part is that was like my last show before COVID. That was like the last show. So I was just like a year into comedy. I'm like, is this it? Is this like, am I done with this now? But transition. Speaking of COVID, you produced a showcase during COVID, Women Behind Glass. And I was looking through it and I remembered we did a Zoom showcase. Do you remember this? On New Year's Eve in 2020?
Jesus Christ. Yes. All my shows are like, they blend together after a little while, but sometimes ones just stand out and you're like, what the fuck was I doing?
What was I thinking? I did that show from my ex's kitchen on my cell phone. I put the phone above the sink and I'm like standing there in his kitchen as his roommates were in the living room and they could only hear me talking because I have my headphones in. And just like, how do you look back on that time 5 years out from now?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was also with an ex. I don't know. That was like, what a time. I went into 2020 like, I don't want to be that girl that's going to reminisce on 2019, but we're doing it, kids. 2019, I was young. I was coming out of an abusive relationship, but still kind of fucking that guy. And then I was like sleeping with other guys. I was dating. I was feeling myself. The world was my oyster. I had gone to Sundance at the beginning of 2020.
I saw that, yeah.
Everybody got sick.
Yeah.
And it ruined my whole momentum. Like, and then I was like, well, I do have these virtual shows, but that in itself was a chaotic fever dream of chaos because I was so like, you don't want to say you're desperate to get time, but like you're desperate to get time, especially when you're not like an established name during the comedy like apocalypse of 2020. So I was just like doing shows in like Australia. I had done like shows in like the UK. I was staying up at crazy amounts of time.
The time difference, yeah.
Jesus Christ, it was nuts.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you meet so many cool people doing it, which was kind of like my major takeaway. I met like some really nice folks, and just like it was something to do, right? Because like, what else were we doing? That was it, and I'd forgotten how much of like that I had done until I was looking back at the flyers. I'm like, oh yeah, Bria and I did that show, and I can't remember anything I talked about. I don't think any of those jokes made it out of COVID.
I haven't told a single one of them things. Don't remember it.
I used to have a reveal joke where I would like stand up from my desk mid-show and show that I was wearing dress pants, even though I was wearing a t-shirt, to show that like I was doing well mentally. And that whole sentence will tell you how unwell I was doing mentally. But do you think that show, all those online shows, how feverish they were still better than the thing we did outdoors where we competed for attention with a fucking 30-person marimba band?
On those fucking xylophones.
No fucking xylophone. Doing Under the Sea.
Yeah, Disney hits, which I was just like, how have they not sued these people? And I was so pissed because I was like, okay, we were doing the best we could during that time, right? But I feel like possibly maybe real estate wise, maybe don't have a comedy tent next to a 30-person band.
The comedy tent, just the phrase alone, comedy tent, is something we, and bless his heart, the person who booked us for that was so apologetic. Like, I'm so sorry. And all I could think is like, you know what? This is so much better than doing this in my house for nobody.
I used to do shows for drinks like a monkey.
I can proudly say I've paid for my own travel and my own housing, etc. I've never paid a producer to put me on. And
I'm not paying anybody anything. That's crazy.
That's insanity. Like I've heard stories in LA. I was like, oh yeah, you can maybe get on the list if you pay $5 and put it in like the open mic bucket. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You know that happened to me on a Zoom show.
Oh wait, hold the fucking. You had to pay money to be on a Zoom show?
Let me tell you this shit. This was when I was like, you know what? All women are not allies. Because this was an all-woman show. And this white lady begged me to do this show. I was like, they reached out to me to do the show. And then when I was like signing on or whatever, trying to get the link, they were like, hey, so like we didn't get your Venmo. And I was like, when? Huh? What are you talking about?
Do you need my Venmo to pay me? Yeah, sure. Here's my ad.
Why would you ask me to do a show and then ask me to pay you at the show to do the show? It's Zoom. Nobody's paying for any of this. And as somebody who made, unintentionally, but made Zoom comedy my entire personality in 2020, I would never. I was very, very much pro pay your comics.
Yeah.
Don't charge the comics to do the comedy. I was like, what kind of sharecropping shit is this? Like, I was so pissed off.
I'm not going to victim blame, but what's worse, the producer that does that or the comics that actually pay them? Like,
what's worse is the producers, because that is predatory.
It is predatory.
We just want to be seen.
We just want to yap on stage.
That's why I don't judge people who pay for Twitter too harshly. I understand what it's like to want to be seen.
I get that.
Most of them are dicks.
Everyone I've seen with a fucking blue check mark has been the worst person I've ever met. And I have friends who have paid for it. I'm like, baby, just give me that money. I'll look at your picture every day if you want. Like, I'll tell you I'm perceiving you. If you want to give me that $10 instead of giving it to Elon Musk, that's fine.
I will text you every 5 minutes. Like, I am perceiving the shit out of you right now. Just send you things all day long. And you'll have to mute me just like notifications. And now I'll just get them.
I'll just text you the word like over and over. That's all you
Hashtag
need.
liked.
Hashtag liked, hashtag perceived, hashtag retweeted. That's disgusting. So we've been on a bunch of shows together. I've seen a bunch of your material at this point, and you do something that I really enjoy with comics is that you've really nailed this line of like talking about yourself and your life and your family specifically, and your experiences in a way that feels like funny, but not like, oh, she's just trauma dumping right now. She's just like letting the audience know that she's not okay. So how do you draw that line? Because I struggle with this too. Is just like, okay, am I just like saying a sad thing that happened to me? Is this actually funny to anybody, or is this just me processing something on stage? Like, how do you decide what makes sense for you on that like pendulum?
Honestly, I'm doing both. Let's be real. Therapy is not free. And if you do get a free therapist, they're probably not great. And you know what? I would rather just trauma dump on people for money, because that is good for my self-esteem. But also, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of shame in society. I think that like we have a lot of shame-fueled things in our lives. And don't get me wrong, shame can be a great motivator. Listen, I think more people should be ashamed of themselves every day.
I'm Catholic. I get it. I'm fully down. I was born with shame and I'll die with even more.
I was born in it. But like, yeah, I feel like it's got such a stigma. And I feel like I come from a family where like they're very judgmental and there's a lot of trauma there. And I've been telling myself this thing where like judgment is just jealousy. And unfortunately, people who are judging you are jealous of you because they don't have what you have in you to like just be honest and accept yourself for who you are. And I feel like when I am doing that on stage, it is giving other people permission, because I talk to people all the time after shows and they're like, oh my God, like I resonate with this or blah, blah, blah. And I've had people come up to me after shows years later and be like, I saw you do this show and this and the other. And that really spoke to me because I'm dealing with this. Like I get a lot of messages on Instagram from people. And it's because people like to feel seen. And so if you're like seeing yourself, it gives other people permission to see themselves, because look at this wig. I cannot judge you. Like,
who am I to judge? Listen,
who am I to judge? Like, I'm just trying to live my life. You're trying to live your life, and nobody should be ashamed of living their lives and having experiences. I don't think like nothing I've done is so freaking above anybody else in the room that I can't share.
Especially depending on the lineup, some of the stuff that other comics have done in that room specifically, like you have no place to even begin. And something you also talk a lot about in your material, which is sort of a avenue that some comedians go down in the ways that they supplement their income, think about creative expression, etc., is your OnlyFans work. I found the status from 2020 that said, 1 week away from an OnlyFans, but it's Russian roulette style. Do you see my titties? Am I folding origami? Or am I reading you an excerpt from a Amanda Ngozi Adichie book? Pay $5 and test your luck. Is that deal still good? Can I see some origami?
It is still good. My origami is shit, but I do still have the papers. Actually, they're like right over here.
I got it.
Do you want to see some origami paper?
What's fuck yeah.
Okay. I'm so excited. Barnes & Noble has so many great things.
Really? I didn't think they were in the business of like folding paper. I thought they just put ink on it.
No, it's hidden under all these things. The ADHD is kicking in.
Listen, I'll find paper. I know what it's like. It's square at some point.
But it's $6.99 now, my OnlyFans.
Okay.
I'm not on there as much, but like with the way this new administration is rolling, jobs are hard, baby. I am about to get back in that thing, in the swing of things.
Listen. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a different extension of creative performance and like putting yourself out there, and what we're talking about being vulnerable and shame and all that shit. And there's like a genre of comedians that like have that as part of their material, their work, and their like creative portfolio, which is a weird thing to say about taking nudes, but frankly, people have put a lot of fucking work into those, and like the editing, the lighting, because I know I've seen the ones that they didn't put work into. And if I never see another dick pic with a toilet featuring again, I will be happy.
Oh wow, I get never got those unsolicited.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was about to say, like, is this just a me thing? Am I just getting all the toilet dick pics?
I got a dick pic one. It wasn't even a dick pic. It was a dick video, and this is why I'm just like, this is a lot. My dude just soiled his camera. Like
Oh no.
Yeah, he was shooting shots all over the place, and I was
Crazy
like, this.
Daisy style.
I was like, that's wild. Like you have to use that later. Like, it's all speakerphone for the rest of my life. Like,
Oh no, you're gonna get like pink ear. You're gonna hold up your camera to your ear. Oh no. Got ear syphilis.
you've got ear gonorrhea. That's crazy.
Oh no. But
But like, yeah, I get those a lot. Honestly, like I started my OnlyFans because I was not in a great place with my body.
yeah.
I used to at the beginning of the pandemic, I was 96 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy because I am 30 pounds heavier than that today. If not a little bit more, but who's asking? It's whatever. But like I was just not in a great place with my body because I was coming out of an abusive situation. I didn't feel
Yeah.
attractive. I was like coming out of a depression. So that was just me kind of like proving to myself that I could be sexy to myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I believed it, other people would believe it, and it would help me be more confident on stage. And honestly, I think I tricked myself into making it work.
See? I mean, there's that really fucking tired line of like fake it till you make it, but I'm really stupid and I can trick myself really easy by faking it.
Yeah.
Like I'm really gullible. When they said they wrote gullible on the ceiling, my neck was up. I was looking for it. When we were looking for origami, you also talked about the ADHD kicking in, and I want to pivot to the fact that you're the stage manager and opening act and just general all around professional for Lady ADHD. I'm gonna send Blair a mean note about this. It's hard as fuck to say. So, for those who don't know, Lady ADHD is Blair Postman's show, which is described as an odyssey of hyperfixations and giant post-it boards. So you got to go all the way to fucking Edinburgh with this show. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That was a ride. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. You want to talk about overstimulation? Oh, Lord Jesus. So many people, not enough sidewalk.
Really? Okay.
Oh my God. I was like pushing through people literally every single day and night to get anywhere. The only times that there were not people on the streets are like 3 a.m., which is not a time where people should be on the streets, but I was
you were out there.
coming from places, being a drunk little lady, experiencing life. Because that's what you do when you're not at home.
Yeah, you're on travel. You're bon voyaging. You got to be out at 3 a.m.
I'm eat, pray, loving.
Amen.
But Lady ADHD was great. It was nice to see the show come to like from like its inception into like real life, because Blair started it. Like I think she wrote it in like 2020, like 2020, 2021. And then August of 2021, she started like show running it and like putting it out there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, like I'll push you off into the sea and go off and prosper. I was just a part of like the beginning to just help out. But then she started taking it on the road, and she needed somebody who was consistent. Mm-hmm. And she came to me at a great time in my life because I was like in a breakup at that point in time. Okay. And I had just moved out from my ex's place. I had no job. I was not doing anything. And when I was like, I don't know, I could kill myself. She called me. It was like, hey, you want to come on the road with me and like move some stuff around and like help with the stuff on Lady ADHD? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm not doing anything else. Good. And the rest is history.
Amen. And you've started to talk more on stage recently about your autism and your sort of mental health journey, which is such a fucking bullshit phrase. Has working on a show that's all really about ADHD, and if I say neurospicy, please just shoot me. I'm 30. I'm too old to be saying shit like that. But did that like help you sort of think about the way you process your own mental workings and the way you perceive things? And did that sort of spiral you into talking more about it on stage?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. That's like it's a tightrope, right? Because I'm not trying to get Amanda Seals like treatment, because she came out here, she was like, she's autistic, and they were like, did you get tested? And she was like, no. And I was like, I feel you, girl. So I don't like to like come out. I am not diagnosed autistic, but also like as a Black woman, it is very hard to get a diagnosis on anything. Whether like I could tell you, I could have like a whole other podcast about things that I've gone to the doctor about that they have just completely ignored me and disregarded. But being on the show and touring with Blair and watching her do the show and seeing her in action, it just put things in perspective for me. Mm-hmm. There are definitely a lot of synchronicities and things that she describes, and like even like things from her past life to things that I experienced when I was like a little girl, because people kind of treat you the same and call you the same things. You're lazy, you're mean, and blah, blah, blah. And just kind of like a burnout gifted child.
The pipeline, it's so fucking real.
It's so fucking real. And so like the masking that I had to do, and like you don't realize until you're an adult all of the mental
gymnastics
and energy that you have just exhausted to try to be seen as normal by people so you don't get bullied, because I was bullied and then I got tired of being bullied, so I started masking. Granted, I will say I don't think I'm ADHD. Okay. I don't necessarily think, like, I feel like I might be odd HD. Like, I feel like there's certain ADHD things. Like, my brother is diagnosed ADHD. And we have some similarities. And I was talking to him and I was like, but they're not quite the same. We, like, our mindsets are just a little bit different, and we process things a little differently. I like to be very direct. Like, I like to ask direct questions because I don't like to assume, because I don't like to leave things up to chance. Fuck all that. So like, it makes me very uneasy. I don't like to be late to things. Like, I would rather be 3 minutes early than 3 minutes late, because I will have a meltdown. Just little things, you know, that made me realize, oh, wow, that's not a neurotypical thing. And that's not how everybody acts.
The question of just like, wait a second, this isn't an everybody thing. What? I thought, hold the phone. Let's reevaluate. It's like that, or someone says something or does something like real specific, talking about their own mental health, is like, uh-oh, this should not be this relatable. Uh-oh, this might ask more questions than it's answering. It's dangerously relatable, so I fully get that. Plus my brother's also like ADHD and my dad is, but I've never been diagnosed, so I'm like, okay, so one of these things is not like the other.
But one of these things might just be. These might all be the same thing.
But then you got to find a therapist that will actually do it and run through the fucking test, and half them will tell you no. And that's me speaking as someone who is like really easily accessed for healthcare. So it's fucking nuts.
It's nuts. It's knuckin' futz, I tell you that.
It's knuckin' futz. It's rough out here. New year, same us. We are perfect. We've never done anything wrong.
I am an angel.
I am infallible, actually. I invented the word. I'm immaculate. I'm infallible.
Get into the wig. I'm one of the angels that they wanted in Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm the reason they burned that place down. So.
There you go. See? Please welcome the stage. I can't. New Year, same us. We're perfect. What are you trying to do this year? What's like the big benchmark, the goal? I mentioned on the last episode, I'm like doing some movie stuff this year, which I'm really excited about. Ooh. Yeah, and then this podcast was really exciting. What's coming up for Bria Beddoe in 2025 before we hit the break?
That is a great freaking question. Honestly, like, I'm trying to be as visible as possible. I don't know why. This could be my own delusions, but I feel like this is going to be a very good year for Bria Beddoe in comedy. I'm like trying to be booked on any and everything I could possibly be booked on, and going anywhere that they will pay me to go, and working with anybody that will work with me. So I'm like for instance, for February, I've completely booked myself up for every day except for my birthday. And it was just like, because I want to do things. I want to see more people. I feel like last year I was doing stuff and people were like, hey, where have you been? I was like, that is not a good sign. You don't want to hear that from people.
No, that's not a good flag, actually. It's like, where have I been?
And I was like, I thought I was here. I guess not. Okay. So I guess I want to make sure people don't have to ask where I've been, because people always know where I am as far as like being on stage and doing things and collaborating more with people. I'm doing a sketch comedy show next week, and it feels really good to like be acting again, because I'm a theater kid, you know? Yeah. It's good to be on stage. It's always going to come back to, it feels good to be seen, baby. I want to be seen.
Representation matters. I need to be represented by myself, visibly, in front of you, in an audience, right now.
But with money, not for free, not for cheap. No. Baby needs to eat. We're
too old for that, frankly. I think we are far past that stage of just like, I'll do this for free.
No,
it's like, no, I'm too old for that.
I'm in my 30s. I've got a mom to feed. Like, come on now.
I got dental issues. I don't need to like be doing shit for free. But we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the upcoming sketch show and the upcoming laugh track showcase.
Yay!
Hey everybody, hope you're staying warm. This is just our mid-show break to let you know what's coming up at our host venue, the Club Car, this weekend. Come out on Thursday, February 20th for a choreography class presented by the Dance Dose and Club Car. 6:30 to 8:30, $10 cover, proceeds donate to charity. totally worth checking out. If you ever want to like up your dance level, it's an open level commercial dance workshop, super early in the evening, and just hang around for a drink or two after. Specifically, the new Bikini Bottom Punch. It's really good, super orange, and we all need a little bit of a punch right now. One last thing, as you already know, February 22nd, it is Laugh Tracks with our current guest, Bria Beddoe, Dwayne Duke, me, Nathaniel Hutman, last week's guest, Swetha Ramesh, and Viv Topping. So come on over, come hang out, come and grab a drink and gather. We'll see you soon. And we're back. I'm here with Bria Beddoe talking about an upcoming gig that you've done a few times now, and you are a current. I'm not sure if you're the reigning winner, but you've definitely won the Washington Roast. I have the list here where it's like a political comedy troupe in Washington, D.C., described as Saturday Night Live on steroids. So, Bria, have you been juicing? Is that what that means?
Oh,
Should
yeah.
I be worried?
I mean, only juice that I'm juicing is no, I have no juice. I don't know. I was gonna make a juice pun, but you know what? Let's not force it.
Yeah, let's leave it to Lizzo in like 2018. We'll leave it to
We
that.
don't need to blame it on the juice. The juice don't got to be loose. We don't have to do any of that. All the stuff is none of these jokes are freshly squeezed, so
they're stale.
I'm not gonna go there.
The juice is dry. So tell me a little about Washington Roast. What exactly is it? How would you describe it to somebody walking down the street and they're like, "What's Washington?"
What is Washington? What is Washington? So a place a long time ago. No, Washington Roast is a roast battle show where I and a lot of other Washington, D.C., DMV based comedians come together and we play political characters and we roast each other. So we pull from headlines and current events and we just kind of like battle it out. And I feel like anything that we want to say to these real life public figures, we kind of just like bring it out on stage and bring it to life. I've been doing it. Wow. It's been so long already. Holy crap. I've been doing it since 2022.
Wow. Okay. And you're currently playing Cornel West?
So I have been a couple characters. I started off as Nancy Pelosi.
Yes.
And then during the election year, because all these Republicans and people were coming out of the woodwork to want to be president. So Cornel West threw his hat in the ring. And originally they didn't necessarily want Cornel West because they were like, we don't know how it's going to fit. And I was like, just trust me. He was in the Matrix. We got this. And that was like my basis. That was my selling point to putting Cornel West in the show. Was like, he was in the Matrix.
Come on.
Also, he's like the only Black guy that was like running. And I was like, I would like to not play a white person again.
Yeah, and that would be a nice change of pace.
He's right there. And I'd rather be a Black man than a white woman on stage, at least. It's just easier for makeup. And whiteface is not my thing. So I've been Cornel West. I'm actually going to be Jasmine Crockett.
Okay.
At the next show. I've been Jasmine Crockett for the last couple of shows, which is nice. They were going to have Jasmine Crockett come, but I think she couldn't make it. It makes me so sad.
Oh, okay.
But she is aware. She has been made aware that I am playing her. And I think that is hilarious.
How do you go about creating, because it's like not exactly a whole cloth new character. You're obviously building on like references and in-jokes and memes and headlines. How do you go about sitting down and being like, okay, I'm doing Jasmine Crockett, famously known for like calling Republicans weird. Do you have to like pull all these references and like cook it? Or do you just sort of play yourself playing Jasmine Crockett? Because I've seen a lot of people take these roasts like, oh yeah, you're just doing yourself, but you're really funny, so you get away with it. And it's still great. So
no, man, I like to immerse myself in the character. I'm working on my Texas accent specifically for Jasmine Crockett.
Boy.
It's not great, but I'm working on it.
Awesome.
I like to embody the whole thing. Like I made the music, her intro music, a Meg Thee Stallion song, Body by Meg Thee Stallion, because Meg Thee Stallion's from Texas. Yeah, she's a baddie. And Jasmine Crockett is a baddie of the political world. And so when I go online, I'm looking up videos of what she's doing, how she's speaking to these weirdos, what she's saying, what's something that pops out that I can use on stage. Because I feel like a lot of people kind of only know her for the Marjorie Taylor Greene, like bleach blonde, bad built body.
Yeah.
But she's got some bangers. Like she's been saying some stuff. And so she's like dressed really nice. She's got the wigs. So that's why I was like, let me get a little wig. Granted, I would maybe get a different wig for Jasmine. She's a little more conservative.
Yeah.
But it's just really awesome to like kind of like have her be my motivation and try to do her justice and embody her. And then I watch her videos and I watch how she responds to people. And that is how I form my jokes against whatever opponent. Because I want to be like, what would Jasmine Crockett say to this person?
And does it feel different kind of going towards someone that's maybe a little bit more liked and respected than, say, Nancy Pelosi, or like someone you could actually like, oh, they're cool. I want to be them. Because the Washington Roast not only does like, actual politicians who do their job, but also like the president and a variety of, I'm sure we might see a variety of new horrible characters after this last month in the DC area. So does it feel different kind of going by like, oh yeah, she's a bad bitch and it feels fun to play her?
I mean, it feels fun to play all of my characters. I definitely feel like, that's so silly to say. I feel great playing Jasmine Crockett because she is a Black woman. Like, it's not as far of a stretch. Not to say that I don't look like Nancy Pelosi, because we spitting images. Like,
I was gonna say it.
I look just like her.
I was thinking of a flyer for the show coming up, and they're like, "How'd you get Nancy Pelosi on the show?" And I'm like,
exactly.
Listen, she just wants to be part of it. We gotta help her out.
I get it all the time. It's crazy. No, like, and I've actually met Nancy Pelosi.
Really?
When I was in high school.
Okay.
My choir, my high school choir.
It all comes back to the picture.
We sang for the 25th or 35th anniversary of Tiananmen Square.
Okay.
And like we sang at the Capitol out front, and like Nancy Pelosi came, she was like speaking, and like she was wearing this all white suit, she shook everybody's hand. It was super cool. As she does. But I also like I've worked events where like she was at the event or like something like that. I've been in a room with Nancy Pelosi at least twice in my lifetime.
Damn.
So that's
the credit.
That's the credit right there, baby. Also, it's like, it's really weird because I feel like out of everybody, I'm like the least political person on the show. I just happen to be politically adjacent. Like, one time I that one time I randomly met Hillary Clinton and she asked me if I wanted to take a selfie. And I was like, girl, yes.
Yes. I will get mileage out of this. Please do.
It's crazy. I'm the least political person on the show, but I do truly enjoy doing some research and like low-key method acting to play all these people, just to like get dressed up and be a character and not just be myself. Like when you're doing stand-up comedy, it's easy to be like, well, I'm Bria Beddoe and I'm gonna say some stuff and incest joke here, blah blah blah. But it's another thing to be like, I have to resemble a person and not Zoe Saldana, Nina Simone style. I have to do it well.
I think your Spanish might be better than hers. I haven't even heard your Spanish, but have you seen Amelia Perez?
No.
Bria. There's a song about vaginoplasty. It's insane. I am giving up in 2025 the binary of things being good or bad. We're non-binary on that static. Now I'm just saying things are either mediocre or iconic. Things can be really good but mediocre, or things can be awful and iconic. This is awfully iconic.
Ooh,
Selena Gomez is in it, and she's offended all the city of Mexico, all the country of Mexico, and Mexico City, which is it's on Netflix. It's gonna win no Oscars because the main star won't stop tweeting. She is like the Spanish Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah, she called Selena Gomez like a washed up rat because of how she treated Justin Bieber.
What?
Wild. It's insane.
Also, that man is married and has been for years. Girl, get over it.
People are weirdly obsessed. It's like how Donald Trump wouldn't stop tweeting about Kristen Stewart and British guy. Everett Cullen, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, he was like,
you were going to talk about him and Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh God, no.
Remember that beef?
I don't have time in the day to have beef with like real people. I cannot imagine having beef with Rosie O'Donnell. Like
that was like a year-long thing. He was like, Rosie, you look like a man. Blah blah blah. Dirty Rosie, filthy Rosie. She's a loser. She's a lesbian. And I was like, what is this? This is so. Why is this a thing?
Fixated on this, and it's like, get a job, but maybe not the one you have. A different job.
Stay away from her. Get a job.
Own a business. But that's super exciting, especially because like I've done a bunch of character stuff because I did improv, and it's always a different skill set to flex. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not being me. I'm writing into somebody else. I'm getting to like enact them in ways that they're not in the ways that I would do it. But it's always like an exciting, different route to stretch. So You've got Washington Roast. You are going up to New York this very weekend, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow.
This will be out next Wednesday, so this will already have happened. And you will also be at Laugh Tracks February 22nd with Dwayne Duke, Nathaniel Hutman, Viv Topping, and last week's guest, Swetha Ramesh.
Then it's my birthday.
And then it's your birthday, Pisces season. Fuck yeah. What else do you have that you want to plug? Anything you want to share with anybody? Anything you want anyone with ears to know?
So this is coming out Wednesday, which is perfect timing because if you are in the DC area and you want something to do on Wednesday night, I will be at the DC Arts Center doing the Wrens sketch show. And I'm doing some sketch comedy, so I will not be doing stand-up. I promise you will never hear a joke that I have already told you. That's not what you're paying for. You're paying to hear new jokes that I didn't write because I'm acting. And it's so exciting. I'm the only woman on the show because, diversity hires are still happening in comedy. I'm super excited for it. So please come. It's all Black people. Don't be afraid.
And it'll still be Black History Month while that's legal.
And I think I get a cut of the door. So the more of you that show up, the more likely I will be paid. Also, come to Laugh Tracks because the more of you that show up,
the more you get paid. Exactly. That's how Split of the Door works. And if people want to find all of this, where can they find you online? I always feel weird asking. It's like, just Google them, bitch. But you've got like a few different handles across different places.
Yeah, I know. So many. I cannot remember. Okay, we'll start with Instagram. I don't want to plug any of these rich white men's platforms, but I gotta be seen and the bills gotta be paid. So Instagram, I'm Bria Beddoe Comedy. There's only one Bria Beddoe, so if you type my name in and I don't show up, that means you typed in the wrong name. That's not me. I don't know who that is. I don't know who you're looking for. But if you look up Bria Beddoe Comedy, BriaBeddoe Comedy, if anybody doesn't know how to spell comedy, I don't know how you got here.
I cannot help you.
I cannot help you. It's
you're beyond help.
You have to ask God. But I can also be found if anybody is on X or Twitter or whatever you're calling it. His mama called him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter. I'm on Twitter as Miss Momo Monko, and I'll spell that one out for you. MSMOMOMANKO.
We got there. We made it.
We did it, folks. No child left behind. And if you are not a creep who also has $6.99 to spare a month, that is my exact same handle on OnlyFans. So
there we go. You can find her there, everywhere, and in Baltimore, February 22nd. This podcast is just an excuse to plug. Until then, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Are you kidding?
It's a blast as always. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.